When you think about it, the best scary stories aren't just a bunch of random spooky events. No, they're more like carefully designed buildings. They're built piece by piece with the specific goal of creating absolute dread. So today, that's exactly what we're going to do. We're going to deconstruct a haunted house story, look at its blueprints, and see how that architecture of fear really works. And it all kicks off with this one single chilling line. This is the hook. It's that first crack in the wall of the ordinary world that just pulls you right in. It immediately sets up the central mystery that's going to drive this whole story. Who is that person in the window? And, maybe more importantly, what do they want? Let's find out. To really get how this story is built, we're going to use a classic tool from storytelling called Freytag's Pyramid. Now, don't worry, it's not as complicated as it sounds. It's basically just a map for a story. We're going to follow its structure, the setup, the rising action, the climax, and then the final reveal to see exactly how a simple haunting spirals into a complete nightmare. All right, first up, the setup, or what story nerds call the exposition. This is where the board is set, right? Every horror story worth its salt needs a normal, everyday world to completely shatter, and this is where we meet ours. And see that very first crack up here. So it all starts with something super normal. A family, after a long search, finally finds the perfect house. For the parents, it's a dream. It's practical, close to everything they need. But for their daughter, Annie, well, there's a catch. Her room has a perfect, direct view of the creepy, abandoned house next door. And right from night one, she has a really, really bad feeling about it. And this is where the story lays down its first, absolutely crucial brick: isolation. I mean, just look at this. It's like two totally different realities. For Annie, that house is a beacon of fear. For her parents, it's just part of the scenery that comes with their great find. They're seeing a home, she's sensing a threat. And that disconnect is so important because it cuts her off from the very people who are supposed to protect her. And boom, this line right here from her mom just cements that isolation. Annie's genuine fear isn't just brushed aside, it's labeled a tantrum. She's told her feelings are foolish. So from the very beginning, the story makes it crystal clear. She is completely on her own in this. The setup is now complete. Okay, so the stage is set. Now we move into the rising action. This is where the story starts to really tighten the screws, It takes that little seed of unease and just waters it, step by agonizing step. This escalation plays out over 3 key nights. Night 1, she sees the figure. Mom says it's just her imagination, too many horror movies. Night 2, it's there again. Mom blames it on some neighborhood kids playing a prank. Each time her reality is denied. This is classic gaslighting, making her question her own mind. And all this disbelief pushes Annie to a tipping point. If no one's going to believe her, she'll have to deal with it herself. This line from her mother is the absolute breaking point. It's supposed to be the voice of adult reason, right? To shut the whole thing down with logic. But what's so terrifying is that in a horror story, that perfect logic is the most horrifying thing of all. Her mom's question, who would be standing at the window, is the exact same question that's been tormenting Annie. The logical answer is no one, but Annie knows the real answer is someone. And that leads us right here to the climax, the point of no return. All that tension that's been slowly, carefully built is about to just explode. Annie, totally invalidated and now determined, decides to confront the source of her fear head on. Okay, just picture how this unfolds step by step. She marches into that dark house. She climbs the stairs, making her way to that one room, the one with the window. But there's no one there. The room is totally empty. Can you imagine the mix of confusion and maybe relief she feels? Well, it lasts for about a second, because when she runs back downstairs, the front door, the one she specifically left open, is slammed shut. Her investigation just turned into a trap. And just like that, all her courage just evaporates. She's a scared kid again, trapped in the dark, calling out for the very people who refuse to believe her. Her calls get more and more desperate. You can practically hear them echoing in that dusty, silent house. And the awful realization starts to dawn on her that her parents can't hear her. No one is coming to help. She is completely, terrifyingly alone. And this is the moment. The final, horrifying understanding hits her like a ton of bricks. This isn't just a jammed door. She is truly, hopelessly stuck in the one place she feared most. And now, we come to the final act, the denouement. This is the story's brutal, ice-cold reveal, where we finally understand the true nature of the horror and what ultimately happens to poor Annie. Here it is, the twist that makes this whole thing so scary. The spirit in that house didn't just want to frighten Annie. See, this was never a hunting. It was a hunt. And the story's ending isn't about her escaping. As the slide says, it's a replacement. And this is the real gut punch. Annie is now stuck in that house. Forever. But the most terrifying part of that sentence isn't the forever. It's that her parents, the ones who called her foolish, never even notice that she's gone. Their disbelief becomes the final, cruel lock on her prison. So let's just let that sink in for a second. The figure in the window, this evil spirit, lured Annie into a trap, and then it took her place. A doppelganger is now living in her house, sleeping in her room, eating dinner with her family, and they have absolutely no clue. And so the story leaves us with this one truly awful question. A question that forms the final, terrifying piece of this whole structure. See, the horror isn't just about what happened to Annie anymore. It's about the thing that went home instead of her. How long will it be before her parents realize the person living under their roof isn't their daughter? Or will they ever?